Cold War is on its way and it's coming fast. And with both an alpha and a beta both being released and gone, we've gotten a little bit of a taste of the weapons and the weapon mechanics. Of course, with these weapons, some are going to tower over the others. But what about the weapons on the opposite side of the scale? Welcome to COD Globe, where today we're looking at the top 10 worst Cold War weapons. Now keep in mind, some of these guns aren't even that bad. These are the worst guns so far in Cold War. With that in mind, let's get started. At number 10, we have the M16. Now I know what you're thinking. Why is this classic Call of Duty gun even on this list? It's been in so many Call of Duties and it has a good track record. Why would it be on this list as being one of the worst guns in the game? When you try balancing this gun along with other guns in the game, it's definitely on the lower side of the spectrum. It's mainly because of its time to kill. As far as accuracy goes, it's quite possibly one of the most accurate rifles in the game. However, because of its time to kill, it leads to being a faulty gun. Where the M16 in past Call of Duties has been a one burst kill, it's kind of irritating and annoying that in this game, the M16 can't kill somebody in one burst, but it takes a minimal of 2, and most of the time, usually 3 bursts to end up killing an opponent. It absolutely hurts me to even have to put this gun on the list, but because it's still usable against other weapons in the game, it needs to be lower on this list. It does deserve to be in the worst guns in this game, but it's still usable. On to number 9. At number 9, we have the QBZ, a fully automatic rifle that has an extremely fast fire rate. Seeing how it has the fire rate of a submachine gun, but the stopping power of an assault rifle, of course the QBZ would be seen as one of the best weapons in the game. However, because of each map's long-range sections, the QBZ gets outgunned by most other assault rifles, and in some cases, other submachine guns. Its spray pattern, as well as its insanely bad long-range accuracy, really damages this gun's ability to kill. Of course, you can counter this with some attachments, but if we're talking about the bare weapon, the QBZ ends up losing a lot of fights against most other guns. Now don't get me wrong, it is a good gun, and overall it can win a good number of its fights, but however, if you're planning on having any mid to long range battles, be prepared to get angry about this gun's accuracy. At number 8, we have the Type 63. Now, of course, this gun would be on the list because it is a marksman rifle. It's a semi-automatic rifle that personally reminds me of the SVT from Modern Warfare 2019, and it has a few similarities. It has amazing stopping power, and when you can hit your shots, a really good time to kill. Because of its high need for accuracy and its slower fire rate, the Type 63 ends up losing a lot of gunfights to most of the other assault rifles and submachine guns combined. Now, because of that, the Type 63, as well as most other semi-automatic rifles and every other Call of Duty, immediately has the disadvantage of rate of fire. If you're not accurate enough with it, it might be better for you to go on to something else. On to number 7, we have the Stoner. Now I know what you're thinking, how could the Stoner be on this list? When the Stoner was introduced in Black Ops 1, it became a fan favorite instantly. Let me just say, this representation of the Stoner would make the original Stoner roll in its grave. Where the original Stoner was a light machine gun, it didn't feel like a light machine gun. However, in Cold War, Activision decided to go the extra mile and make the Stoner the most LMG type version of itself it could possibly be. With a box mag, a slower ADS speed, and a not so decent rate of fire, the Stoner has a lot of problems. Of course, it has really good stopping power and amazing accuracy, but those are really its only attributes. It's slow, it's lunky, it makes you walk slower, and just has all the annoying attributes of LMGs that a lot of people can't stand. When you compare this version of the Stoner to its predecessor, it's just sad to see the differences. At number 6, we have the Tundra. Now, the Tundra being one of the 2 sniper rifles introduced in the alpha and the beta, the sniper rifles in general have a hard time killing people in this new game. The Tundra, it hits like a tank, but it's so slow to the point where you have almost no chance of using it in a practical battle. But of course, that can't be said when you put a number of attachments on the gun that bring up its ADS speed. Even though the snipers are pretty sad in this new game, Cold War, the Tundra is still the better of the 2. However, it's still slow, can still hit marker, and is actually pretty impractical when it comes to an actual gunfight. And that brings us on to number 5 with the Pellington. Now, the Pellington is the other sniper rifle that was introduced to us in the Cold War beta and the Cold War alpha. Now, one of the biggest problems that people had with this gun is that it hit markers way too much. It's simply not strong enough. Where the Tundra succeeds in power, it lacks in speed. And the opposite can be said with the Pellington. The Pellington is faster, however shooting someone is like shooting them with a rubber band rather than a bullet. Sniping altogether has its own problems and is pretty impractical in this game. However, when put in the right hands, it can be useful to some extent. Seeing how sniping has been changed for this new game, it's pretty easy to say that quickscoping and sniping in general is going to be more of a skill-based tactic. At number 4, we have the Gallo SA-12. Now, with this obviously being Cold War's version of the Spaz-12, it's pretty embarrassing to see this gun on this list. The Spaz-12 has always been a hard hitter in the COD games, and it's pretty sad to see it on this list. Because shotguns were completely overshadowed in the alpha as well as the beta, it easily needs to be a 2 to 3 shot kill, even at close range, to kill someone. Or at least that's the experience that I had while using it. However, this gun counters that disability by having a very good fire rate, which has been something that the Spaz-12 has always been known for. And with that being said, we're going on to number 3, which is the Hauer 77, and sorry if I butchered that name. With this being the combat shotgun of Cold War, you'd expect this pump action beauty to be a beast. However, sadly that is not the case. Like I said with the SA-12, the shotguns were completely overshadowed. However, when I did see this gun and when I did get to use this gun, it was really only a one-shot kill at extremely close range. And at the range where these guns would be useful, you could easily overpower me with an SMG or even some of the assault rifles. The way that I was able to interpret that, it made the shotgun seem unusable and unreliable, which is really sad to say, seeing how the shotguns have always been a beloved class of weapon. At number 2, we have the Diamatti. Now this can also be known as the Rafika from Modern Warfare 2, the Renettis from Modern Warfare 2019, and pretty much any burst action M9. In every other Call of Duty that has this kind of gun, they usually do really well when it comes to balancing this weapon to other weapons in the game. However, Activision made a mistake when making these guns. Where their time to kill is pretty good and their rate of fire is outstanding, their accuracy is, to say the least, just bad. Diamatti has such a bad recoil and overall a bad spray pattern, which leads to them being unreliable and overall unpredictable. In most close-up fights, they're going to end up losing. Which of course brings us to number 1. And at that spot we have the Magnum. Now I'm assuming most of us are not surprised by this. The Magnum has been losing popularity for a very long time. The Magnum does not live up to the revolver legacy. With it only being a one-shot kill to the head and being a two-shot kill anywhere else, the Magnum doesn't have enough power and doesn't have enough damage per second in order to actually kill someone effectively. And along with that, the gun has so much kick and recoil that it's almost impossible to use. The only way I found it useful in the slightest was by putting a hipfire laser sight on it so that I could at least hipfire someone and get a kill that way. It was way more effective to use literally any other weapon. Where the Magnum has really good stopping power, it has insanely long time to kill, insanely bad recoil, very bad accuracy, and a very slow fire rate. So far has been the worst weapon in Cold War. Did you agree with our list? If so, leave it down in the comment section. And even if you didn't, leave it down in the comment section because we want to know what you think. We hope you enjoyed this episode of COD Club, and we cannot wait to see you in the next one.